finally bit the bullet. I've hurt my bank account, finally gone and bought myself a set of deep section carbon wheels. So I've been using this pair of Hunt 54mm Aerodynamicist Carbon Disc Brake wheels for about 6 months now, and I'm finally ready to tell you about my experience with my first ever set of deep section carbon wheels. Are they fast? Are they light? Did I sell one of my kidneys to buy them? And would I recommend them to you? Well, the only way to find out is to dive into this video. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Josh, a medical student and GB age group triathlete, and on this channel we talk all things triathlon, whether those be vlogs, training tip videos, or product reviews just like this one. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, hit that subscribe button. So to give you a little bit of background of what I was coming from before going to this incredible new wheel set, I was using this set of Mavic Axiom just box section alloy rims. Now those wheels came standard with my Ribble Aero A83, which I'll definitely do a video on at some point, and I've paired those with the Continental GP5000s, which are the same ones that are on my new wheels, except I've got tan walls on my new wheels because they look epic, and anyone who says otherwise is just lying. And those Mavic wheels were a great set of wheels, no doubt. They lasted me 3.5 years, and I really did a lot of incredible things with them. But when everyone around you is riding deep section carbon wheels and they go swoosh, swoosh, and they look great and they ride really nicely, well, it was only a matter of time before I was going to get them. And I did manage to hold out about 2 years before buying my first set. And in that process, I found it quite confusing. There were so many questions. Which brand do I go for? Which wheel set from each brand do I go for? How deep do I want them? Do I need alloy spokes or carbon spokes? There are so many different questions to think about. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about why I chose to buy the Hunt 54 Aerodynamicist Carbon Disc wheels, and I'm going to be reviewing them as well and tell you how I've gone on with them, having used them for 6 months now. So we'll cover a little bit about Hunt, why I chose this specific wheel set and why I chose Hunt. We'll also talk about how heavy they are, how fast they are, and finally whether or not I would recommend them to you. So let's start with Hunt. Who are Hunt? Well, they're a British brand, and although the wheels aren't made in the UK, they are assembled and shipped out from the UK, which is great for me. I had considered buying some wheels from other places, especially looking at how good the deals are when you look at a Chinese wheel set. However, I simply felt that knowing that they were coming from the UK and not that far from where I live, I felt more confident that I was going to get better support if anything went wrong. And considering this is my first pair and it's a really big investment for me, that was something I prized really highly when trying to choose a set. And within the UK, they have a really good reputation. I have a number of friends who also have Hunt wheels, and they say they've never had a problem with them and that they ride really nicely. So that kind of put my mind at rest when I was trying simply to choose the brand to start off with. They're also known for being really great value, which is something as me, as a medical student, something I've got to keep in mind because I can't go around buying £2,000 wheel sets. But onto the actual wheels themselves. I knew I wanted something in carbon, both for the performance benefits when it comes to weight, and also just the ride feel. I've heard is slightly better when you go for a nice carbon wheel set like these ones. I spent a lot of time trying to choose exactly how deep I wanted these wheels, and as you can see, I went for some pretty deep ones. These are 54mm, so it's quite a unique depth. Not a lot of other companies make these, although many make 48 or 50s and 60s, but I found these to be a real sweet spot. There were two main things that I was considering when I was trying to decide how deep my wheels should be. Firstly, the deeper they are, the more aerodynamic they tend to be, and there are lots of research studies that show this. However, the deeper you go, you do gain a slight weight penalty, although that's generally balanced out by the aero benefits. The second thing, however, means that the deeper your wheels are, the more likely you are to get blown off of your bike by a crosswind, which is something that I don't really want to do.
To the effort to try and stay clear. And Thomas is off. And that is a...
For my first wheel set, I wanted something I could pretty much use all the time. I didn't want to be blown off every single time I went for a ride, but I did want something that I could use for time trials and specifically triathlon, which is my main sport. So that's how I ended up deciding on these 54mm deep ones. I thought it was a really nice balance between a kind of lighter 30mm climbing set and a true kind of time trial or triathlon set, which are normally around 70 to 80 millimeters. And I have absolutely no regrets here. I've never had a problem with these in the wind, and as we'll come on to, I think they're plenty fast enough for pretty much everything. Just to cover a little bit more about Hunt's wheel offering, they have their normal range, they have their Aerodynamicist range, which is the one I went for, and then they have their Limitless Aero, being the top and most expensive set of wheels. I chose the Aerodynamicist ones, the middle ones, for a number of reasons. They're both lighter and a little bit wider, which makes them more aerodynamic and fits a 28mm tyre slightly better, which is what I wanted. They also come with a lifetime damage and crash replacement, which is something that really put my mind at rest, as anyone who cycles in London will know that there are potholes everywhere, and it's only a matter of time before I damage the rims. These rims are also hookless and tubeless compatible. However, I've got tubes inside these Conti GP5000 simply because living in a small flat in London, I'm not quite ready to deal with tubeless tyres yet. Now, a really big consideration, how light are these wheels? I'm going to be comparing them to my old box alloy wheels. Now, these are some pretty deep wheels, and you might think they're much heavier than this box alloy set of wheels. But with the magic of carbon fibre, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how light they are. For this comparison, I'm comparing pretty much like for like. So on both sets of wheels, I've got Continental GP5000s, it's just the new ones have those tan sidewalls, which are, again, beautiful. They've both got Continental race 28mm inner tubes, and both the rear wheels have an 1128 Shimano 105 cassette. So with all that said, the old alloy wheels come in at 1,883 grams for the rear wheel and 1,421 grams for the front. Now, comparing that to the new ones with all the same extras, all the same add-ons, we have a weight for the front wheel of 1,237 and a weight of the rear wheel of 1,666 grams. That's a humongous 401 gram saving while going from box wheels to 54mm deep section wheels. And especially considering the cost of this wheels, that's a pretty humongous weight saving. Now, they're not the lightest wheels on the market, but they definitely are pretty competitive. So yes, these wheels are significantly lighter than my previous set, but are they fast? With absolutely zero evidence, I can say with 100% confidence that yes, they are incredibly fast. Now, I'm only kidding with that, but they do feel absolutely incredible, and they do feel incredibly fast comparing to my old wheels. It's really hard for me to quantify how much faster my new wheels are when compared to the old box alloy wheels. However, anecdotally, I can share some experiences. I regularly go up to the Olympic Park in London where there's a 1 mile closed cycle loop, which is absolutely fantastic, and I fly around there with my friends regularly. And I've done that with both my old wheels, and I've been doing that for 6 months with my new wheels. And although this is just my feeling, the new wheels do feel so much faster. Once you get them up to speed, you seem to absolutely fly, and they feel, at least I'm sure some of this is psychological, like they are cutting through the air. However, in this case, we are really fortunate that I bought a set of Hunt wheels because they publish a lot of aerodynamic data with their wheels. Now, unfortunately, I can't compare them directly to my old wheels, but I can compare them to some similar carbon wheels on the market. So if we pop over to Hunt's website where I bought these wheels from, we can see that they've got aerodynamic data comparing these wheels to both a pair of DT Swiss 48mm ones and a very popular pair of Zip 303 NSWs. And although what difference is very small at 45 kph, the Hunts do come out ahead by almost 1 watt compared to the Zips and slightly less when compared to the DT Swiss. However, it is worth noting at this point that both of those wheel sets are slightly lighter than these ones, so that's something to keep in mind if you live somewhere especially hilly. But even saying that, the differences are very minor. However, the difference in price is much more significant than the difference in watts. My pair comes in at £870, whereas the Zip, according to their website, have a recommended retail price of anywhere from £1,500 to £2,000. So about twice as expensive as my pair of Hunts. So I must say these pair of Hunts are looking like a pretty good deal so far. But let's talk a little bit more about that price. Now, when you buy any wheel set, they don't come with all of those added extras that we had to count in as I was weighing them earlier. So although the wheels retail at about £870, adding tubes, tyres and a cassette brings it to just over £1,000. But that's true of any wheels on the market right now, and so I wouldn't worry about that when you're comparing price at the moment. As I mentioned, the Hunts also come with a lifetime crash and damage replacement, which these Zips also do, and I've heard really good things about both companies' warranties. So when it comes to price and value, I think these ones are definitely up there. Although they're not the best wheels on the market, being slightly heavier than some other brands, when it comes to price and value, I think these wheels really punch above their weight. Although they're not the best wheels on the market, and arguably offerings from companies like Zip and DT Swiss might be slightly better wheels, the value proposition that Hunt are offering is very hard to turn down when they are in some cases half as expensive as some offerings from other manufacturers. But before we wrap up this video, we have to talk about the free hub sound of these wheels. Now, if you live in the UK and you cycle even a little bit, you might know that Hunt wheels are notorious for being incredibly loud, and I can 100% confirm that they are almost deafening, which is exactly what I like, but it definitely turns some heads. Every time I ride with a friend who hasn't heard the Hunt carbon wheels, as soon as I freewheel, they will always comment on how incredibly loud they are. Now, I think the sound is awesome and it's part of what I love about these wheels, but I'm sure some people may find it obnoxious. It's even got to the point when I'm cycling by myself, other cyclists who I don't know will comment on exactly how loud. Sometimes that's in a bad way, but quite often that's in a good and admiring way. So be prepared for that, I guess. I guess the final question is, are they worth it, and should you buy a set of Hunt 54 Aerodynamicist Carbon Disc Brake wheels? The question you have to ask yourself is the weight saving, the aerodynamic benefits and the improved ride quality and the cool factor, which is something you can't forget, worth almost £900 without any of the extra bits? For me, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, they're one of the best things I've ever bought for my bike and the best things I've ever bought in general, and I have zero regrets. It's made my bike feel like an entirely new bike, which would be extremely expensive compared to this £900 wheel set. Since getting these, I've never not wanted to go and ride my bike outside. Every single time I hop on, I hear my free hub a little bit, I look down, they look incredible, and it makes me smile. It makes me want to go and ride my bike all the time, and that's something you can't undervalue. One of the great things about upgrading wheels is that when I inevitably do buy a new bike frame, I can simply move this lovely wheel set over to my new bike and benefit from them again. It's a lot of money to spend on something when you already can cycle with a normal set of box alloy wheels. I think you have to answer that question. Are the benefits worth it for the price? If you're a competitive cyclist, or you really just enjoy cycling, something you spend a lot of your time and money on, then the answer is probably yes. But if those things like the weight and the speed aren't as important to you, then it might not be worth it. And I think everyone's going to make that decision slightly differently. However, if you are in the market and you're pretty sure you do want a set of carbon wheels, then I can highly recommend the Hunt 54 Aerodynamicists. These wheels have pretty much sold me on getting Hunt wheels for the foreseeable future. I know that the next set of wheels I probably buy is going to be from Hunt. I'm already eyeing up an 80mm front wheel and a rear disc wheel for my triathlons. So when I inevitably hurt my bank account even more, I hope you'll be subscribed so you can see more of my product reviews. But until then, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like this video and hit subscribe if you want to see some more, and I will see you all in the next video.